Hey guys, this is Tanner with Woodgrain. Today we're going to go over how to replace a door in an existing door frame. The task itself is pretty easy. We're going to go step by step, show you the tools and what you're going to need to get the project done. So these are the tools you're going to need for this project. You're going to need a drill, a chisel, or a palm router, along with a drill bit, screwdriver, tape measure, utility knife, and some clamps. And it's kind of nice to actually have some sawhorses as well to help prop up your table. We're going to fit it with a Woodgrain solid style and rail door. It's a beautiful painted door which we've painted. If you want to learn how to paint a door, follow our other YouTube video below. So there's a number of reasons to replace a door within your home, whether it be a damaged door or if you're looking to upgrade and remodel. So within this project, we're actually looking to remodel, and we're going to be replacing this hollow core door with a Woodgrain style and rail door. Woodgrain offers a number of router carved doors along with style and rail doors. These are all beautifully premium crafted doors that have a range of different varieties as far as wood tones. You can get them primed and painted and any really style or aesthetic you're looking for. So today we're doing a pretty basic one panel door. We're gonna get rid of this old kind of junky hollow core door, to be honest. So follow along and we'll show you step by step. So the first step of the project is removing all the hardware. We're going to want to remove the door itself from its hinges so we can take it and use it as a template for our new door. So we're going to remove the hinges first. The best way to do it is with a hammer and a flathead screwdriver to drive up these pins to get the door off its hinges. So in a lot of cases, you'd actually leave your hinges if you're using the same hinges, but we're actually changing out our hinges. The fact that we're trying to go for a different look. So we're gonna change these from this gunmetal to a black finished hinge. One thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you're installing these the right direction. They go one way all the way as far as closing. If they stop right there, you know you're installing the wrong way. So make sure you have your faces correctly positioned before you drill those in. So the other thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure you have your pin on top. The hole in the bottom should be facing down as far as your install goes. So keep that in mind. So I'm actually gonna wanna remove the pin and the one side so I can actually match that up to my door. I'm gonna put the pin back in for storage so I don't lose them. But you can kind of use your old pins to knock these up the top. Pull those out. So the next step in the process is to actually use your old door as a template. So what I have here is my new door. The green door is my new door. This is a Woodgrain door, and then this is our hollow core door that we're gonna toss. So I'm gonna use this as a template so I can draw my lines so I know where I need to route out for the hinges and for the door hole. So one thing we need to ask ourselves is, what is the size of our door? So is the size exactly the same, or do we need to make cuts or adjustments? With Woodgrain, you can order any size door, which is really convenient. We actually did not order the right size door, so we are actually gonna make some cuts on this door to make the slab exactly the same as our existing door. So the good news is the fact that we're using a Woodgrain style and rail door, we can actually cut into the rail and the style and still have plenty of wood to work with as far as for our screw holes and not be getting air up into our door itself. So if we were to do that in the hollow core, if we were to cut into this, we'd actually see the inner workings, most likely cardboard and filler inside this door. We'll actually show you what that looks like. But so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna trace what needs to be cut. So it's actually slightly long, about 1/4 of an inch. We're gonna cut that off and we'll go from there. So this is an example here, not so much related to the steps in the project, but this is a hollow core. Once you cut that piece off, top to bottom, you're not gonna have really much support. So that's why with style and rail, you have the benefit of having the whole core be wood and have durability. You won't have to worry about making cuts and adjustments throughout the project. So if you're sizing these different with the style and rail, definitely a lot of benefit to that. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the piece we need to off of our wood grain door and keep moving on the project. So really quickly, as you can see, I cut the bottom off, but as it matches up. But when you cut the bottom of the style and rail door, it's solid wood core, you're not gonna run into issues of not having structure and framing on the bottom essentially. So that's kind of one of the benefits of a style and rail wood door. As you can see, it's a full wood core, and it's gonna give a lot of structure and longevity as far as the wear and tear of life. So now that the doors are the exact same size, we are going to line them up. I'm actually gonna use clamps to line them up to get the exact fit, and we're gonna trace the hinges and our doorknob as well, so we know where to cut those out. So I'm gonna clamp the top, and I'm gonna clamp the bottom. Like I said, I just took this piece off. That was a demonstration. They do line up when they do match, so we are set on that side. I'm gonna trace these out. I'm gonna scratch that as well. Make sure that I have consistent lines. So what we're gonna do now, guys, now that we're done tracing, we're gonna remove our old door and get ready to route out our hinges and our knob handles. So now that we marked out all the spots that we're gonna be routing out, we're actually gonna score the lines with a utility blade to make sure that we don't get any ripping as far as the wood goes. So we're gonna follow along our marks and really just don't have to go crazy deep depending what you're doing here. As far as cutting out our pockets for our hinges, there's really 3 ways to go about it. So you can go the old-fashioned way with a chisel and a hammer. After you scored it, you can actually go along and essentially chisel out where you need to cut. Scoring it a couple different times with the chisel rather than just trying to do one straight shot. That way you don't get ripping along the style of your door. So the second way is with a hinge kit. So this is actually can be purchased at any hardware store, and it's really for the curved hinges. So if you're doing a 90-degree angle as far as your hinges go, there's really 2 types of hinges. You don't need this as much because it's pretty straightforward and it's not necessarily very difficult to get that 90-degree. When you get some curvature on your hinges like I have here, it can be a little bit more challenging to make sure that's consistent, especially those corners. So that hinge kit is pretty nice in the fact that it gives you a guide. It actually gives you a bit for your hand router, and then you're kind of off to the races. So the third way is essentially a mix between the two. So essentially using your palm router and essentially setting it to the depth of your hinge. So you can literally put your hinge up to the bit to determine how deep you need to go as far as the depth of your hinge pocket. And then after I score my edge, I'll actually just trace it without a guide. So it's a pretty simple way to do it, whatever you fancy. So the depth is really key to make sure you're getting the right depth of your hinge. Whether you're doing it with a chisel, you need to make sure your hinge is flush with the door, and we'll show you some examples of that. So after we have the hinge pockets routed out, we're gonna actually put the hinge back in and create pilot holes to help our screws so it doesn't split our wood when we actually install the screws back in. So I put our old slab on top of our new slab to check my work to make sure all of the drill holes were lining up and all of my pockets looked consistent. Everything's lining up, so I'm going to take this back off and essentially install our hinges. So now that we put our hinges onto our door, we are gonna set our door back on the hinges. So what I've done is I've actually put some magazines that I had laying around to help me leverage the door. Or if you had two people, you can do this as well. So now that we have the door on its hinges, we want to make sure that it's going to properly close into the doorstop. Everything here looks good. We are set to go to the next step. So far so good. So we're going to create the holes for the knobs here. So there's a lot of different jigs that you can use. So we're now on the last step here, guys. We're going to put our handles on the door. I recommend using a pre-existing jig. There's a bunch of different companies that make different knob jigs. Just make sure you get a better cut and it makes your job a little easier. So we're gonna go to the latch plate here and essentially mark right in the middle where our hole is in the latch plate. And off of that, we are going to place our jig. So, pretty straightforward. Match that up. Once I have that on, it comes with the bit. I'll put my bit through and go at it. To avoid splitting, I'm actually gonna go through both sides of the jig. So I'm gonna start on that side and then finish on the back side. So same process with the knob holes. We're doing the latch holes with the template. Pretty straightforward. Keep a lot of pressure. Make sure your drill itself is straight. So you're not getting you're not getting an angle on your hole. That's a wrap, guys. We are done. I hope this was informational for you guys and you guys could get something out of it. Follow us at We Are Woodgrain for all things door and molding, and appreciate it.